Hello, in a previous video we saw how to use the law of cosines to find the angle measures, missing angle measures in a triangle if you know all three side lengths. Now we're going to see how to use the cosine law to find a missing side length if you know two sides and an included angle measure. So first thing I'm going to do is label some points on here. Vertices or angles are measured or labeled with capital letters, and the sides opposite are labeled with the same letters but lowercase. Just a reminder about that. Okay, so for this given triangle, the angle measure that you will be provided is angle C in here is 80 degrees. You can see it's less than a right angle there. Side length A is 12 and side length B is 17. So what I could find using the cosine law is side length C. So because I'm looking for side length C, I want that to be isolated in the version of the cosine law that I'm going to use. So C squared is A squared plus B squared. So at this point it looks very much like Pythagorean theorem. And then to take into consideration that 80-degree angle, I have to subtract 2AB cosine C. And then I'm going to sub in the values that I know. So I know that A is 12, B is 17, you'll notice that I'm using brackets when I do that substitution for A and B. It's a good idea to use brackets just to remind yourself that there is a multiplication going on there. So I got 144 289 minus 408 cosine, and C is 80, so I'm going to actually put that number in right now too. So the 144 and the 289 are constants, they're values, so I can just do that addition right away. Simplify that part. It's 433 minus 408 cosine 80. Cosine 80 is a value. It's a decimal value. So I'm actually going to evaluate this working my way back from the cosine 80. So cosine 80 equals, see, that's a decimal value, 0.1736. Now that's multiplied by negative 408, so times negative 408 is this number. So 70.848, etc. So since I have that already in my calculator, I'm not going to clear it out. I'm going to leave it as negative 70 as it is, and then I'm going to add 433 to that. That's to avoid rounding errors or transcription errors. So that's 362.15 and some stuff. And then at this point, again, don't clear it out of your calculator, leave it there. And I'm going to do a square root because I want to find just side length C. So that's the square root of this 362.15 number. Square root, my answer, C is 19.0. 0.03. I'm going to round it off to there. And that is how you use cosine law to find an unknown side length. From there, now that I know all three side lengths, I could use the other forms of the cosine law to find the other two missing angles. I'm just going to use one. So let's find angle A. A squared is b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A. So side length A is 12. 17. 19.03. So rounding this to 19.03 is creating these 4 decimal places here, and all the way along it's going to keep inserting decimal values. If I had rounded it off to just 19, then I wouldn't have all these decimal values. It would make it easier, but it would also make it less precise. Okay, so at this point I'm going to add the two constant values together, the two numerical values together. And that is 651.1409 is equal to 144. I'm going to subtract the 651 from the 144, and then I will divide away this coefficient, which is a negative 647. So 144 minus 651.1409 Now I'm going to divide that value by my coefficient, 647.2. And that should result in a decimal value, and it does. So that decimal value is the value of the cosine of A. So this is 0.7838, rounded. Use arc cosine, or second function cosine, of that decimal value to find the measure of angle A. So second function cosine of that answer is 38.4, we'll say. Degrees. So this is the angle measure. This is a side that we found previously. Now I could go through the trouble of using the cosine law again to find angle B, but I have a shorter way. To find angle B, I can use the fact that the angle measures together should add up to 180 degrees. And that's going to be much quicker. So we just found angle A was 38.4. I don't know angle B yet. Angle C is 80. So I can do a subtraction here to find angle measure B, and it's quicker than using the cosine law. So that's what I'm going to do. 180 minus 38.4 and minus the 80, and that's 61.6. And that is how you solve a triangle using cosine law.